Assistant Superintendent's Office handles the in-district school of choice.
And there's no coordination of that?
There's not right now, no. Not really. The better answer that is, as Tommie stated, we want to, it's hard to project numbers. It's hard to project how many students are going to be in kindergarten next year at a certain building. But as school goes on, we then won't give that opportunity for in-district school of choice to happen to a specific building if they want to change, if that class building at that specific school is already overloaded. So my department then would oversee the numbers and then communicate with each principal of each building.
And the idea, once again, is to try to keep all sides down and not have a situation where two different departments are approving schools of choice, and then we all of a sudden have the one particular building with a lot of students and class sizes going too high.
And we also, you just mentioned numbers, student numbers. Most of the presentation that was up there, that's the report that we got, that's the report that we have in front of us. But we haven't seen the numbers to say how much this would save the district and how much this would allow us to make sure that all the teachers have the materials that they need to teach the students, and the students don't have to share books, don't have to share technology. So that is, I guess, the next step is to look at those financial numbers and see what that adds up to.
Yeah, we had Penny take a look at this for us, and once again, it's not in stone. It's a, it's a big view because she wasn't able to have the time to do every calculation. But at the big view, we were looking at a savings of someplace between $2.5 and $3 million, which was our target. Was to someplace between 2.5 and 3 million. And that's if everything here was implemented.
And the important thing to note is that that really doesn't get us kind of out of the black. That really over the next year just maintains
It gets us even.
It helps keep us even if
Right.
the numbers come in, because the changes that we already know with the steps and whatnot. So that's a really fundamental issue that we need to deal with. Right now, we're going to end the school year on the razor's edge. I think was what we, we're in a forecast. I don't want to speak for you, but on the razor's edge of a surplus. So going forward, we need to make strategic changes that will allow us, given what we already know, to maintain it. Is that a fair way of putting it?
It is. Well, we just had a finance committee meeting before this meeting, and there's a PFT contract step collapse that's going to cost us $2.2 million for next year. So that 2.5 to 3.5 is already 2.2 of that is taken care of. So that's my concern, is where the money's going to come for new programs, new curriculum, new materials, new offerings.
Right. Well, if we look at it, the largest part of any district is personnel, and that is about 80% of the cost. So when we look at a situation like this, we have someplace between 2.5 and $3 million savings. That is huge. In terms of the other offerings and curriculum, a lot of those classes we already have on the books. A lot of those classes we already have, but students aren't able to take them because we're not able to offer them. Why we can't offer them is because I may have 12 or 13 students in my building that want to take a class, and Truman may have 12 or 13 students over there, and I can't run the class because it's not enough, and she can't run the class because it's not enough, and we don't have the opportunity to bus because sometimes the conflict won't allow it, so we don't have the class. Now, if we were in one building, we would have a class of 26 kids, we have a class. And that's the kind of things we're looking at. So a lot of these curriculum offerings are already there and on the books, so curriculum's already been developed, we just can't offer it.
So to add on to that, because really what we're talking about, you hit on it again earlier, is competitiveness. So we're talking about, we have competitors that are both public and businesses, charters, that we have to compete with. So by doing this, again, you're optimizing, working with what we've got, offering more choice. And the other thing that we haven't mentioned here, but it's going to come into play pretty soon, is the powerhouse athletics that we would have, which is another competitive advantage that we have that our competitors do not have. By combining, we would be kind of, I don't want to say returning to the glory days, but it would be a powerhouse, to be
Yes.
sure.
And they will attract students.
And it will attract things.
And it'll be at all levels, not only athletics, but also we talked about JLTC, band, DECA, all our activities would be, instead of competing against each other,
Right.
and instead of east side and west side of Taylor competing against each other, we're joined together.
One strong, solid high school that can offer the best curriculum, academics, sports, across the board.
And I just have one more question. I have a question of where the data came from. Those people that have school-age children in Taylor but don't choose to send them to Taylor Public Schools, where did that information come from? Did you survey all 3,400?
I get a report, every time we submit, or my department submits fall count, I'll get a report from my auditor that will state the specific Taylor residents and what grade level and what school those students are actually attending based on FTE. So we had a total of, I believe it was 3,400 going out and a very small percentage coming in.
But the specific question I have is the reason why they're choosing not to attend our schools. We're given 3 class sizes, course offerings, and technology. How did we find that out?
Because when we do a survey, when the district put out the survey, one of the questions they asked is, do you have a school-age child? Yes, no. Does your child attend Taylor School District? Yes or no? If you don't attend Taylor School District, why? What's number 1 reasons? What's your number 2 reasons? That's where we got that.
That came off the survey that we provided.
So, again, just to, I think it's really worth mentioning one more time, the time-sensitive nature of this. So, again, we talked about where we're at fiscally, and again, in a cursory way, in a very cursory way, we talked about it. But again, I think the report summed it up very well. So if we talk about looking at the proposals that are out here, to try to do this as best you can to respect the kids and their needs, it really can't be rushed. We're already behind the 8 ball enough as it is. I think we've covered ad nauseum. So just to do this, timeliness is very important. So I would suggest that we really deliberate quickly. We talked as a committee, if you don't mind me mentioning it, a timeline of presenting it to the board this week. I don't have it written down in front of me, so if I say this, please check me. Coming back, calling maybe a special meeting next week at Truman.
Truman.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. Well, I should maybe let you take the ball and run
No,
with it.
you do.
And then to allow for more public opinion and understanding. Again, if you really try to put emotion aside, there's a lot of emotion that's tied to this. We all know this. I went to Taylor Center, okay? So I'm just saying, there's emotion tied to this. But if we try to do exactly what the committee did, which is objectively come up with a really optimal solution given where we're at, and everything they said is what we need to do to be competitive, which is smaller class sizes, more offering. Again, athletics, that would be a massive draw, and I could go on and on. Those to me are things that are fundamental. Affects all of the kids, my kids that are in the schools as well. So, but to get back to this, so on point, which is we should have a community meeting next week at Truman, and then try to pull this together very shortly, I think a week after this, if we need to call a special meeting. So that would be my recommendation, because again, if you look at this, and again, I'm looking for your words here to help me, and that is that we're right now, we'll be into the March timeframe.
Yes.
Which leaves just 2 weeks before the school year. So to prepare this, again, in the phased manner, that's why the phased plan was proposed, understanding the kind of work that goes into this. And this is a strategic plan. That's what's fundamentally important about it. It is a strategic plan, but there are, who knows how many tactical issues that need to be overcome. So to do this really effectively, that would be the proposed timetable that I would suggest. Is that
Correct.
Absolutely. Especially those first 8 proposals, which is under phase 1, in order to make that happen, it's going to take several months of work, planning, and initiative in order to put that together. Several months. If we're talking March, when we get a go order, we're almost at that point already, we're coming real close, not doing make it happen by September. So it takes, and we talked this over with Thor and with Ms. Hilliker about moving people, personnel, equipment. Could we do this? And each time we talked to them about it, they were a little hesitant, like, wow, that's a lot of stuff in a short period of time. But to Thor's credit and Ms. Hilliker's credit, we said, you know, we got to do it, we can make it happen. So we are running into a time crunch, absolutely.